Well, greetings, traders. It has been quite some time since we've done one of these. Many of you know I have been off the grid intentionally, off the public grid. A couple of sporadic posts over the past several months, but aside from that, I've been very active in the markets, but doing a lot of personal reflection, a lot of observation, a lot of uh, going back and being a student of the markets and a student of life, and I felt that that has been needed or was needed at this end, given a couple of decades in the market, given what's transpired over the past 20 years from the blog to the growing following to the book to MF Global to teaching to trading to everything. And I want to cover a lot of ground today, and talk you through the last several months, talk to you about my current trading screen. But I want to start with who I'm following on Twitter right now. The internet, Twitter is a fascinating animal, and if you recall from comments in the past, or maybe you haven't, I was very reluctant to grab onto that, and it's been a very interesting period of observation for me in terms of trying to take the best of what the internet and what Twitter has, and not necessarily morph that into my own trading, but it's always interesting to remain a student of the markets. And when I've taught, I've been very careful with the folks that I've worked with in terms of I personally need to be very careful incorporating any new change to a methodology that one has honed over time, that fits one's personality over time, and that is profitable over time. And so one example I think we can look at is Tiger Woods, and all the problems that he's had, all the challenges he's had on a personal basis. He's tried to tinker with his swing. He had one of the most perfect swings in the industry, and I know injury has come into play a little bit with him, but he toyed with the swing. He tweaked the swing, changed swing coaches, changed swing mechanics, and it's really messed with him. You're taking the world's best golfer in the history of the sport at one time, and tries to tinker on what was close to perfection, taking a little bit perhaps of the artistry out of the swing and putting the mechanics into the swing. And it's ruined his game. And so I use that as an example to point to myself and any of you, where if something's, I tell people, if something's working and you're standing on your head and you're blindfolded and shooting darts and it's working, great. Press it when it's working, back off when it's not. Use that accelerator and brake. So I'm very careful in the industry, but I in terms of again morphing that into my own trading style. I'm going to show you what I have morphed in the trading style, but I want to talk about again some resources that, in my humble opinion, have contributed greatly to the education and the free education in the marketplace. And some of these people have services, some of these people have subscription services, some of these people have brokerage services. So in many cases, there is a business aspect of this, as there should be. But there are also some that give freely. And I'm going to start with Dr. Brett Steenbarger, who we continue to chat, on and off over time. I do follow him. I think he's got some outstanding psychological information out there. Good stuff to keep you sharp. So I certainly want to put a shout out to Dr. Brett. Some others, and I know I've done this before, but Verneman. I'll tell you, for those of you that want to learn market profile, there's just some great stuff on his site. I think as you look at these various sites, you can see some commonalities. You can see we've kind of taken the best from those who we have come in close contact with, including each other, and we've used that to further strengthen ourselves. And I think that he is just outstanding in terms of his unrelenting previews in the morning. His site, which is chock full of information, some of which you'll see in common with what we've had on this site in terms of poker and some other things. And Vernon, kudos out to you for what you do. One of the things I love about what he does is he always reminds you to put things in context. I've always said that it's very difficult to measure using multiple devices. I often use the analogy, you don't need a tape measure and a yardstick and a ruler and a compass to basically get at the same thing. So, volume profile, in my opinion, is somewhat duplicative to other tools. It's a tape measure to our ruler, our yardstick, but it is certainly a unique way. A lot of traders follow it. I certainly understand the mechanics of it well enough to incorporate that into a very corner view in my trading screen, which you'll see, by the way, which I will post along with the blog post here. But anyway, I mean, it's certainly a unique way of looking at the market. James Dalton does certainly a lot of work, has been a leading figure. I could go on and on and on. But again, kudos to Vernon. Great job. I think keeping it in context again is so key. If you look at any of these things, if you look at market profile or momentum indicators or trend indicators, if you look at any of these by themselves, they will not work. Okay, there've been studies to prove that. But if you incorporate that with other attributes, if you combine price with momentum, if you can put volume profile in context with a larger market with higher time frames, again, incorporate that into your own trading style, it'll certainly be very beneficial. Again, kudos. Futures Trader 71, FT 71, great stuff in terms of again, the tireless effort that he puts in his previews. He does a video, a chart-based YouTube effort every morning. I've been keeping tabs on some of that lately. I think does an outstanding job on morphing the education of market profile. Again, in his case, focuses a lot on that with psychological aspects, with putting the day in context, and a great job. So FT71, kudos for all that you do as well. A few others that I'm following right now. Nirav Patel, I think has done some great work with algos. Been following him a bit, learning a little bit from him. And Vader, who has quite a following. Again, kudos to you as well for what you share. Now, all of us that have a public profile in this industry, again, in some cases, there's a business bent to it. There's a value for that. In other cases, providing information free. Just a small example in the vast world of the internet of some people I just give tremendous kudos out. None of us are perfect. A shadow trader, another one, Peter Resniak, just does a great job. Again, all of us are not gods. We're human. We make mistakes. But those of us that have tried to give back to the industry, whether it's related or not to an underlying business, I think that all of these people do a fantastic job in giving back to the industry. So my personal thanks and kudos to you as a trader, as a peer. What else has gone on over the past several months? I have gone through quite a few levels, I guess, at this end in terms of looking at the trading world, looking at life, age of 54. Where do we go from here? How does trading fit into my life? Is there a value add to that? And I guess the best way I can describe it is it's been a bit of an examination of conscience, personally, for the value that we provide, there's the spiritual side of life, and again, how this fits in, going back as far as the book, the Chronicles book, to the jelly training that we've done, just kind of looking back at that, reassessing, is it the right approach? Is it the right way to go at this market? Is there value in that? Looking at my own trading, see without getting into a Tiger Woods type situation, are there things that I can be doing better? And I've said many times in the past, I think the older you get, the more this becomes. I mean, it's always a mental game, but really the more it becomes the motivation, the focus, the showing up, again, the three things that once you've figured the business out, really that's it. That's it when you boil down to the simple mechanics. And so again, a bit of an examination of conscious and an examination of a lot of things that we're doing. And I share some of the conclusions I guess I've come to. By the way, those of you that have seen a recent post, I am just back from a week in Aruba. My wife, Deborah, and I were celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary. And kudos to the love of my life. And if you see me a little bit more calm, relaxed, whatever, I just got off the flight last night at Logan after a nice 6-day stint there. A little warm there in September. Last time I was there in February. A little warmer this time around, but still a wonderful experience. And really doing some final reflecting on where I'm going with this business in terms of the fall. So anyway, that's kind of where I've been. But anyway, some of the conclusions I guess I've come to. We take a lot of criticism, those of us that are public on the web, and you have to take that for what it is. And a very good friend of mine reminded me of this recently when he said, you have to look at the source of the information. You've got to look at the source of people that are criticizing you and the source of people that are complimenting you. And you can't get high or low off of either one of those. And so look at the source. If these are trusted sources, then value their input, treat it as such. If these are not trusted sources, then do the same thing. There's a lot of junk out there, folks. There's a lot of people that it's a microcosm of society. There's good and there's not so good. And so, I'd encourage you to surround yourself with people. I've done that a little bit in my own industry. It allows me to not focus on running a room or doing some other things that might take away from my trading focus or my other business efforts. But there are people that do that, and so surrounding yourself with a complement of traders that sift the wheat in the chaff, and surround yourself with people that are going to support you, embrace you, encourage you, and that's certainly possible. And so I've you see myself personally have tried to do a little bit more of that recently. So that's really one good lesson that I've learned really over the past 10 or 15 years, but more so the last several months. In terms of trading education, the trading business in general. So again, good, bad in the industry. Focus on the good. There's a lot of it. I've mentioned some of it today. And that's how I look at that. In terms of teaching, am I going to continue to teach? Yeah, I'm going to continue to teach every now and then. I still like the live events. People seem to still find value in them, but they'll be limited. I'm a trader, folks. I love trading. I love the challenge. I'm continuing to try to be as transparent as possible with where I stand in my own life and my own cycle. Again, show you a few tweaks in the trading screen, which will be coming up here shortly. But by and large, I'm a trader, so that remains my primary interest. It is the most optimal way of profiting in this business if you're involved in the industry. That's not to say there aren't good teachers and mentors out there that do not trade, but we do need swing coaches like golfers. Again, we need people to keep us on track, keep us motivated, keep us out of the bad habits. FT71, great stuff recently in some of his seminars on habit creep. I think he does a great job. We all need to be careful of that. I've seen that in my own trading and needing to make course corrections over time. I'm a trader, so I'll try to continue to formally teach at times. The webinars are still out there, but I'm a trader, folks. That's who I am. Okay, so other things I've learned, I guess. Know where trading fits into your life. I've really had to pull myself in, and one of the reasons I went off the grid a little bit is and I mentioned this in a post a few months ago, is making sure that I wasn't, putting myself ahead of where I should be putting myself. I'm not going to make this a spiritual lecture, folks. That's not my intent. I said it in the beginning of the book. I love you all, Those that disagree with me, great. I respect that. Different spiritual beliefs. It doesn't matter. I love you. I have my strong convictions based on experience, and that is most important to me. It's something that I have to put as my number one priority in life. I have to. And if that means going off the grid, if that means backing off from trading from time to time, if that means focusing on some other things, that has to be my priority. And I've not been very good at that over my life, and I need to keep pulling myself in. Again, I've said this in the book. I've said this before. Make no mistake. My faith in God is the most important aspect of my life, and I have to remember that. I have to continue to be centered with that and focus on that as my priority. I have to. And all of this other stuff, the videos, the trainings, the Twitters, it's all very secondary. It's all very secondary. But while we're here, we need to encourage each other. We need to support each other. And so, again, as I've been away from the market, I've needed to focus on that, remind myself of that. And I think it's made me come back now, especially heading into the fall, as a more centered, energized, excited trader for the gift that each day presents to us in terms of life and in terms of the trading opportunities or whatever business you may be pursuing. So that's all I'll say about that, but it's very important to me. Trading screen. Let's look at the trading screen. I'm going to be pointing over here, even though you've got it somewhere in the post here, in terms of what this reflects. Okay, I'll take a spin around here. Most of you that have seen my trading screens in the past will see very few differences. Again, the way that I view the market has really never changed, with the exception of a couple of aspects. And all these indicators do is largely confirm everything else that I've looked at. How do I view the market? Multiple time frames, trend, momentum indicators. That's it. That's all you need. Simplify this business. Keep it simple. KISS. There are a few other aspects, though, through a few other items that can help you. You'll notice top left. Now, this is, by the way, you're going to see a number of different platforms here. The overall platform is right now Thinkorswim. Okay. So you'll see that with a black background pretty much, but you'll also see overlays on top of that in terms of things that are very important to me from different providers. So top left, Thinkorswim market profile. Okay, actually volume profile, not market profile. Volume profile. I look at time periods, and this happens to be the RTH regular trading hour session. Okay, and again, there's so many people better than me at that, and how you can incorporate it in your own trading. Again, Verneman, FT71, all good stuff. Okay. So this is one corner of the screen. I'm not staring at it at all, really. I kind of glance at it every now and then. It's kind of like the gas gauge indicator on your dashboard in the car. But then as you come to the right, you're going to see some things that are more familiar to you in terms of the videos and all the stuff that I've done before. You'll see some e-signal charts overlaid. So you see a 5-minute chart in purple, a 2-minute chart. Sometimes that's a 1-minute chart in yellow, right? E-signal. Moving averages, support levels, tick, ADX, volume, a couple of different indicators there. Okay. Below the yellow 2-minute chart is I will expand it just real quick here so I can see it, is the F6 screen. And this is put out by Charlie Cochran. I've referenced this in the past in terms of it's a delta, market. Delta has this sort of thing. Other vendors have this sort of thing, but it is a wonderful indicator to basically show you when there's more action on the bid versus the ask. I found this to be one of the largest greatest improvement tools in my trading that has helped validate my other indicators, and has helped me push and be aggressive at times. And basically say, okay, yeah, that's it. All the other big boys are going in. Let me go in as well. And what you find over time is that you become one of the big boys, and so you're making the move, and then you see it reflected in that screen, and you're now part of that. You're not just waiting for that, but you're now part of that. And that's just been so incredible for me in terms of validation, consistency, and going hard. Okay. What you see to the right of that slightly is a time and sales screen. It's blank right now because I rebooted this over the weekend. Continue to the far right, you'll see some trading domes, price ladders for ES futures, and for in this case the Spiders ETF. Those of you that have been in a recent few classes know that I do trade ETFs. Sometimes just to mix the mind up. Sometimes I find it easier to hold an ETF than I can a futures contract. It's somewhat mental, but to just know I can put stuff away there. It's not leveraged. I don't need to be looking at tick by tick. And so you'll see me having that as well. And the dome itself, buy order, sell order, spots, and then open P&L, I think is something that, I've long been an advocate of keeping the P&L off your screen. I still am. I don't really look at it that much, but it reminds me not to play small at times, which is a habit that I have, one of those habit creep items that I've talked about before. I'm going to continue to go clockwise here. Lower right-hand corner, new screen for many of you. It's an Excel spreadsheet, basically. It's got some important motivating reminders. By the way, some of this has come from FT71. Thank you. I appreciate that. You see a little bit of a roadmap in the center in terms of something that I can use as a little scratch pad while I'm trading. What's my entry plan? What's my exit plan? What's my risk reward? And the numbers here are really irrelevant aside from putting something in ahead of time and then overlaying that with how your trade is actually progressing and reminding you to manage to your plan. A lot of people do great at planning, but they don't do great at following their plan. And again, I can fall into that trap as well, so a reminder to do that. And then to the right of that Excel spreadsheet, I've got some contract sizing for me, which is based on my capital. Now, please don't get carried away with the numbers. It's all relative. Okay, if you're trading a handful of contracts, that's fine. I've got a green spot highlighted there, which is my sweet spot, which is to get up toward 300 to the extent possible. And just a reminder for myself mentally what 2 points can do with those amounts. Okay, continuing. Clockwise toward the bottom, you see an account statement, the summary. Basically, all that provides is the most recent trade executions on the Thinkorswim platform. Below that, the most important chart on this page, okay, the clock, okay. Know when the times are to trade, know when the times are to back off, know when the times are to press things. Very, very significant time-based patterns in this business between U.S. opening, midday, closing, Asia opening, closing, Europe opening, closing, back to U.S. and throughout all the days. Very, very tangible patterns. That is so very important, supplemented with hopefully what you folks have developed over time, which is a time-based matrix in terms of what's happening during each one of these spots. Okay, continuing around lower toward the left, TradeStation, another platform. Yes, I do spend money on these things. Okay, this is important business infrastructure. Three-line break, talked about it many times. Steve Nissen does some great stuff on that Japanese candlestick. Another reminder on, okay, get rid of the noise. Here's what the trend is telling you. More e-signal charts lower left. You see a 60-minute chart, 2500 tick chart, and then an e-signal menu. Okay. What else have I missed? Oh, lower middle trading screen under the TNS, basically an index chart reminder in terms of what it's up and down. And when the Dow's down 1,000 points, it's nice to see that down at 1,000 points and ignore all the other indicators and basically push it. Okay. So that's my current screen. Really, not much has changed. The format has changed. Now I also use Future Path Photon. I have accounts there as well. You don't see that particularly here because there's not enough screen space. Sometimes I'll overlay a matrix on top of this, but I have a secondary screen as well. So I'm hoping this is helpful in terms of showing you kind of how I'm viewing the market. Some of really the only tweaks to all the stuff that you've seen over the years and it's in the webinars and everything would be the F6 screen. And I'm going to provide a video here shortly. I promised Charlie Cochran that I would do this. That will show you how I use that live in my own trading. As well as the volume profile. Again, just a snapshot on the left, understanding value ranges and spikes and balances and Ds and Bs and just kind of a subtle reminder of the gas gauge, if you will. Okay, so a very secondary indicator for me, but some people trade primarily off of that, and God bless them for doing that. So this is a bit of a mouthful. I'm going to be looking at my own trading as I head into the fall. Wonderful trading season, and try to continue to step things up. Many of you know that I went off the grid for one reason several months ago, to get my size up. That remains in progress, and I'm choosing to do that as much in silence, because I think it's something that requires the focus to do that. I encourage anyone who's on the public grid to just take some time every now and then to back off. Middle 2000s, I know, went off for a few years. This one's really been a year or so. I mean, a couple of posts, but not much since then. I think that's healthy for all of us. It gets us back to our roots, gets us back to remembering who we are, what we're about, and step away and become a student again. Okay. The minute that I stop becoming a student of the market and learning and honing my own trading and realizing when habit creep comes in, and not valuing the opinions of others as much as I have conviction in the methods and in the abilities, I think the minute we stop exposing ourselves to again that comfort net, that encouraging net, I think that's the minute that we really start risking a decay. I don't think any of us were meant to live our lives in private. Trading in private's one thing. Trading with a support system is quite something else. Those of us that get a few barbs thrown at us this way, I'll use the same encouragement that long-hated team, the Patriots, get. They use that as motivation. Just watched a great job, by the way. Whatever you think of the Patriots, folks, NFL Network, I think it was, had a just do your job 1 hour view of the Patriots in the 2014 season. And about the unique formations they use, it just, what you should take away from that is the preparation and the thought process and the use of the challenges in life, whether they are self-imposed or whether they're imposed on you by others, using those as motivation in trading and in life. And I know I do best when I look at life like that. Take the criticism from those who you value, take the constructiveness from those who you value, pass on the rest, use that maybe as some motivation, and move on from there. So I'm going to be more active as we go forward. I hope this was helpful for you. It's going to be back. Got a bit of a tan you probably can't see because the light is just rising here in the east in the morning. So again, it's Saturday, September 12th. It was a little eerie flying, by the way, on 9/11 yesterday. But God bless everybody who was the families that were impacted by that, and prayers are with you. So God bless you all. Thanks again for those that have contributed, all the people I've mentioned and others, and we will see you very, very soon again. Take care.